Hello everybody again, we are back. We are back today again with our speaker Núria Salan. Núria Salan is the president at Catalan Society of Technology. She is also professor at the UPC Barcelona Tech, a researcher in advanced materials and in gender issues in tech education. So hello Núria, thanks for being today here with us. How are you?
Yeah, fine, thanks. Thank you very much for this opportunity, for sharing my research and all the things. I have to explain a lot of things.
We are willing to hear you, so whenever you want, you can start.
Okay, thank you very much. So it's my pleasure today to share with you a lot of things I want to explain to you. So this is me. This is my name and facts and figures. Here you are, but I want you to explain about the origin of this speech, because behind every activity there is a story. So the story of this activity is because this is a story of a race in the background, and also this is a story of a personal race. So let me to share a sentence. I love it. That's the Kamala Harris sentence. I'm here today because of the women who came before me. So as a researcher, as a scientist, as a technology woman, I want you to say, I'm here today because of the women in engineering before me. So this is said by me, Núria Salan, and this is me. I would like to prefer to introduce me in this way. I'm professor of metallurgy. So my students, they call me the Iron Lady sometimes, I don't know. But I find it's a very kind definition. So I love metals in all the ways and all the application, and this is me. Can you see me working with iron? So in this picture, I was working for doing my grids from my home, and all these guys were there because they have watched this program related to iron and blacksmith. You know, that like a reality. I don't know the name in English. I know the name in Spanish, Forjado a Fuego, and they believe everything they watch on TV, and that's absolutely false. So they came to the workplace because I want to do a katana or a sword in 1 weekend. And, oh yeah, that's not possible. So this is the story behind this picture. But I love to do a lot of things. So this is other of my passions, bakery. This is the most beautiful cake I've ever done. I love to write, I love to sing, I love to do a lot of things. I'm also a normal woman, like a mother, like a grandmother. She is April, but my daughter told me, you are not allowed to show the face, but she didn't talk nothing about the feet. So this is my granddaughter, April. And these are my parents and my sisters, because behind of me, there is my family, of course. It's the same situation for everyone. But in my case, I am the first woman, also the first person in my family to study at university. So for me, it's very valuable, this image, because my parents are always supporting all the activities. And this is me having fun, because I'm working a lot, but always a short time for having fun, always. So now I'm teaching in the best engineering school ever. Some of you know this school because you were studying in that place. This is the engineering school in Terrassa, the Industrial and Aeronautical and Audiovisual Engineering School from University Politècnica of Catalunya, the Barcelona Tech. This is my school, and I'm teaching here. And when I was a child, if someone has told me in the future you will be lecturing here, I will say, no, that's not possible, because when I was a child, when I was a girl, engineering was really far from me, was really far from my horizonte, and now I forget the word. So from my screen, it was really far. And thank you. And that's the reason I always show this picture, because dreams sometimes come true. And you have to do your dreams, because sometimes dreams come true. Whatever, when somebody told you that dreams are not allowed to you. So the 21st century, this century, your century, because I'm closing to be retired, and this century is the STEAM century. STEAM, you know, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And we are working by helping you to get your knowledge, but more than your knowledge, your skills. That's competences you need for developing yourselves as a professional in STEM. So engineering, it means how to solve a problem with ingenuity. This is the best definition of engineering. And for doing this, you know, this collection of skills, the most important is the second one, the problem overview ability, because if you are not able to identify the problem, what are you doing in engineering? And when you have this, then you can apply all the possibilities for reaching for a solution, the most viable solution, applying all the resources, and managing all the talent surrounding you with creativity, with flexibility, especially with an international profile. That's the reason we are sharing this knowledge in English. I beg your pardon, because my English is not as good as it would, but I'm doing my best. And take a look about the first skill, the knowledge in science and technology. Is the first, but not the most important. Is one of the skills. So if you have 2 or 3 of these skills, you are a profile for engineering, you are a profile for STEAM. And I don't know why, in which moment, who told this stupid thing that STEAM are not suitable for women. This is one of the most stupid things I ever listened. But I didn't believe about this, but a lot of women did. And they decide to develop their professional profile in other fields far from engineering. And the problem is we have lost the talents and the abilities of these women because they get far from engineering. So let me to explain something. When we are thinking about what are we going to do in the future, we need the role models. You know, we need to get to mirroring ourselves in front of several characters we have listened about, or we have known about in movies and books. So the most common names and achievements in history related to engineering or science or in architecture, the names are usually Da Vinci. Every one of you know who was Da Vinci, or Einstein, or Mr. Gaudí, you know, the architect. So all these names are well known, but by all of you, and not only the names, but the goals or the activities. I mean, if you put the name in the research bar in Google, in the Google bar, you type the name of these characters behind under the name, you can identify this number. This number, it means how many times that name has been appeared in all the searches around the world. So can you identify Einstein millions of times? The same for Da Vinci, the same for Gaudí, millions, because they are well known and they are recognizing talents. So everybody knows about them and ask to Google, please let me know more about these characters. It's the same when we are trying to find the name of the inventors. Invention is the most sexy approaching from STEM, because invention is how to creating something that does not exist in nature. So inventors are that kind of people, so creativity, so brilliant. But in your textbook, when you were a child, which were the names that were appearing in this textbook related to inventions? So Gutenberg, Mr. Gutenberg with the print, or Mr. Franklin with the rod lamp, or Mr. Volta, who found the way for getting all the energy in a small pieces, in small devices like batteries. So these names and a lot of more names of inventors are well known. I'm using again the indicator about putting the name, typing the name in the bar of Google, and search, getting that number, and higher is that number, higher is the visibility and the recognition of these characters. So take a look about Gutenberg is 5 million, Franklin 3 million, and Volta 2 million, close to 12 millions and a half. But what about female inventors? What about women in these most famous STEM characters? They are disappeared. When I was a child, the only name I found in encyclopedia at my parents' home, there were only one encyclopedia. It was a thick book like this. And in that book, in that encyclopedia, it was only one single name of a woman in STEM. It was Marie Curie. And Marie Curie was the only one role model for me. And it was a brilliant, a sharp brain, but I was quite frightened in front of this model, because I'm far from that brilliant profile. And she was also a sad profile. Do you remember her? Always with a sad face, without a smile, with a black clothes, but not my black clothes, black embroidered clothes. And it's not the most, it's not the best model for a girl. Marie Curie is a brilliant one, but not the best, because no one wants to be a sad woman. And about inventions, when I was a child, I was drawing at home, drawing machines for helping my mother to do the home tasks. And I was drawing these machines, and I thought, there are no inventors in this encyclopedia, so I will be the first inventor in history. Of course, I was far from the truth, but I didn't know. So when the names are disappeared from textbook or from your information, not now, because now we have Google or internet, but take a look at 10 or 15 years ago, 15 or 25 years ago, where were the names of female inventors and the inventions? Is because there are no references about women in history, because they are disappeared in textbook. That's the main reason of the lack of vocations. And when STEM females disappear from examples, young generations cannot choose these options or these models to follow. So I found in one moment, it's not possible I will be the first inventor in history. No, it's not possible. And I thought, okay, that names must be hidden. And when I will be a scientist, I will find these names. And that has been my main task, to rescue the names and the stories of the inventors, because they were hidden in this top secret, you know what I mean? So let me to talk about a few names. Mary the Jewess. Did you ever heard about the name of the Mary the Jewess? Mary the Jewess was the first alchemist woman in history, and she was the inventor of a lot of procedures we are using at the moment in laboratory. The distiller. This is this picture here in the left of the screen. this is the tribicos. The tribicos, it was the first distiller device in history, and was Mary the Jewess who designed it and who explained how to use it. And this, in my right, in the right side of the screen, this device was for calcination, for doing a calcination. And in the middle, there is the most known procedure from Mary the Jewess, the Bain Marie, or the Mary's bath, Baño Maria. The Bain Marie, or the Mary's bath, the name is because it was Mary, the inventor. I always say the same. If this kind of isothermal bath, you know how it works. You put the boiling water, and inside the boiling water, you put a pan, and inside the pan, you put chocolate or anything you want to get warm, and it will be heated, but the maximum temperature is the boiling water. It means 100 Celsius degree. So this idea help us in a lot of activities in science, in laboratories, also for even for doing the quenching, the isothermal quenching for swords. And the Bain Marie, the name, the origin is because it was Mary the Jewess. So if that procedure has been invented by a man, the name, it would be Peter's bath, but not Mary's bath or Bain Marie. So about the visibility of Mary, Mary the Jewess, take a look at this. All that inventors, that men were several millions, but she's really far from this visibility because it's less than 30,000 of items in visibility and no references in textbook. So the same for Hypatia. Now we know about Hypatia because the movie of Alejandro Amenábar, Agora, but previous to that movie, nobody now knows about Hypatia. Hypatia, she was the first mathematics and astronomist in history, the inventor of astrolabios. The astrolabios, you know, is that device in the middle of the slide for getting some information about the distance of stars or planets in space. But in astronomy textbooks, the name of Hypatia was disappeared. She was in the agoras. The agora is a place like this when the men were there for listening another man who talking about the blah blah blah, and women were not allowed. But she didn't obey the rules, and she went to the agora, and that was the reason she died very young. And she was also disappeared from textbook. Stoned, she was stoned. And about the visibility, take a look at this number. It's really far from 1 million. And we are still far from 1 million. And what about the Hildegard of Bingen, or Hildegard von Bingen? She was a German woman, and she was known as the feminine Da Vinci because she was really clever in everything she was done. She was really good in poetry, in literacy, in philosophy, in musicology, in pharmacy, in medicine. So she was perfect. But take a look at the dress code. She was a nun. And she was a nun because the other option, it was the fire, you know, the witch or nun. And one of the inventions of Hildegard of Bingen, there are a lot of medical inventions, was the beer. Not exactly the beer, but the modern beer with the hope addition. When you add hope to the fermentation liquid, this liquid remains safe and remains in good quality for drinking or for get drunk. Not get drunk, for having this aliment for several months, and that was the brilliant starting point of the addition of hope, of the idea of Hildegard of Bingen, because previous to her, that fermentation was only safe for a few days, and thanks to this, is because this modification we can have several months, a big volume of beer and drank beer. And at that moment in middle age, sometimes it was the only one aliment for several families. So, but she had to choose between being a free woman or a safe one. And because the other option was to be considered a wage. So about the visibility, take a look to this number. It's really far from a million. By the addition of the visibility of the women before this is a really smaller than a million number. And about other names of inventors, did you ever listen about Mary Anderson? Mary Anderson, she was a farmer, and that farmer, she was the owner of the patent of this windshield wiper, this device that help us to drive in safe conditions. I can imagine how many millions of lives are saved because of this invention, but nobody knows about Mary Anderson. And it's the same for Josephine Cochrane. She was Josephine Cochrane, and she was the inventor and the developer of the washing machine, the dishwasher. But the reason was not because she didn't love to wash the pottery or the dish washing by hands, because she was a rich woman and there were people who did by them. The idea in Josephine Cochrane's mind was to save the population, because with this device all the dishes were absolutely clean, without no part of the dirtiness or the bacteria or anything similar. So this machine was really a brilliant idea, but nobody knows about the safety related to the invention of Josephine Cochrane. And about the visibility, take a look to this. Josephine Cochrane, less than 500,000, and Mary Anderson, oh my God, 60,000. Yeah, is really far from the millions we identified when we are searching about male inventors. And Viola Louise Henry, she was named as Lady Edison because she had a lot of inventions, exactly 110, and 49 were with the legal and industrial patents. So she was the inventor. The first patent was the ice freezer, the vacuum ice freezer. Can you imagine your lives without vacuum ice freezer, and ice freezer, sorry. And 3 years after this invention, another woman, she was Florence Parpar, she was the inventor of the refrigerator. So by combining both patents, now we have our combis and our frigo cases, and it's perfect for our lives. She was Viola Louise Henry. She was also the inventor of this can opener, this type of can opener. And I suppose you are very young and you didn't recognize this can opener, but it was really a brilliant option and more safe than the previous one. And she was also the inventor of the foldable umbrella. And this device is called linotype, a linotype. And the linotype allowed to make several prints at the same time. So a book was really cheaper, thanks because of this this device. Because with the print of Gutenberg, you were done one by one, and with this is 5 or 10 in the same time. So books were cheaper. So it would be hard for me and for us to listen about all the inventions of Viola Louise Henry, because she was all her life doing inventions for everything. But about the visibility, take a look to this. The talent was unknown and the ideas were invisible, because less than $500,000. The same from Hedy Lamarr. At this moment, maybe Hedy Lamarr is one of the most known inventors, but it's because several boards of women in science have doing some have been fighting for rescuing the name and the goals from Hedy Lamarr. Hedy Lamarr, she was born in Vienna, and when she was really young, she was studying engineering, and she did a movie. In that movie, she was the first actress in history by doing without no clothes in the screen, and oh, what a scandal! And then she get married with a German guy. That German guy was a friend of Nazis, and that German guy said, "Okay, now you are my wife. You have to stay at home because you have no permission for go to university and for finishing your studies, no for doing movies, blah blah blah." So she was listening to the husband, and when the Nazis were visiting the husband by asking him the money, blah blah, and she identified a need, because military said the communication are not safe because the wires are not safe. So she knew by means of the physics and the music that there are several notes in a violin that allow a violin close by the violin you are playing, that other violin without not touch is possible to hear a note because the vibrations by means of resonance. This is physics, and she knew about this. And with the help of a friend of her, George Antwill, she had the idea to identifying the frequencies in a violin, actually in a piano. And when all these frequencies were identified, how to switch them very quickly in order to get a safe way of communications. She was far from home. She runs from Germany to London, and then from London to United States. She changed the name, and she became one of the most beautiful and known actresses in Hollywood, Hedy Lamarr. And in USA, in United States, she did this patent in 1941, the secret system of communication. In this document, she explains when you have identified all these frequencies, so that's the reason she is known as the wide spectrum process. So by means of this idea, it was possible to switch quickly and in a safe way. So it's because Hedy Lamarr, we have the possibility of wireless communications, Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or GPS. But in telecommunications, nobody talks about the origin. It means about Hedy Lamarr. And it's the same for Stephanie Kwolek. She was a chemist. And in 1965, she did a patent of Kevlar. Kevlar is an aramid fiber, a polymeric fiber, and is the most resistant material. Not exactly the most. The most is spider web, but it is the second one. And because this possibilities of this molecule, with this fiber, it's possible to make a cloth, a very safe cloth, because it's not possible to cut. And this cloth resists the wearing very hard. So with Kevlar, you can do these safety elements or the clothes safety for laboratory. And all is because Stephanie Kwolek, brilliant idea, but nobody talked about her. When I was studying chemistry, nobody talked to me about, nobody told me about Stephanie Kwolek and about the visibility. Hedy Lamarr, less than $500,000, and the same for Stephanie Kwolek. And Stephanie Kwolek, with this invention, she deserves the Nobel Award, but she was never nominated for a Nobel Award in chemistry. And now at this moment we are out of pandemia, but not far from pandemia. But I suppose you never heard about Letitia Monforguier. She was a nurse and the inventor of zinc. Maybe you didn't know about Catalan Caricó. She was the designer of the first vaccine, non-viral vaccine. Moderna, it means mode RNA, modified RNA, ribonucleic acid. But in Spain, Moderna, it means non-old, but that's not the meaning. And Margarita Salas, she was developing the polymerase chain reaction during her PhD students 60 years ago. But in these last years, when we did a lot of PCRs or a lot of tests, nobody told us about the invention. It means Margarita Salas' name. And about the visibility, take a look to the numbers. Margarita Salas, 14 millions, but it was because when I did the screenshot, she was dead recently, and there were a lot of activities in recognition, but take a look to the recognition of Letitia Monforguier, 21,000. Wow, 21,000. And Catalan Caricó. And by adding all the visibility of all the names before this, maybe we can reach 2 millions. Oh, 2 millions by means of 10 women visibility. Oh my God. And that's one of the reasons there are the number of girls choosing options in science are far from the 50-50 is because the lack of models. And it's the same in ICT. Did you recognize the faces? Can you identify the names and the goals or the riches or the inventions or the procedures they reached? I'm helping you. Mary Kenneth Keller, she was the designer of BASIC, the software language, the most easy software language. Or Margaret Hamilton, she is known as first software engineer because it was the code for a safety when the Apollo, and it's because she was the designer of this code, the men into Apollo, they could come back to the Earth. And Grace Murray Hopper, amazing Grace, she was the designer of the first computer. But the names of these three women are absolutely disappear from the first courses or the first subjects in primary school when teachers are introducing technology and robotics or informatica or ICT, And the same in aerospace. In aerospace, some of you are aeronautical engineering, and maybe the names you remember about the astronauts were Buzz Aldrin or Pedro Duque. Pedro Duque is the Spanish one, and they are really known. And the movies, do you remember that movie, the Space Cowboys? But women in aerospace are absolutely unknown. Take a look of the visibility, more than 100 million or 5 million. And that names, if you ask to 10 children about if they knew the names, I'm sure they will say, who are these women? Valentina Tereshkova from Russian, the first female astronaut in history. In the middle, Mae Jemison, the first Afro-American woman in space. And Liu Yang, the first in China. And they are far from being a model or a reference in textbook or in history because practically nobody knows about them. And that's the reason I decided to spend my research time by rescuing these names. Because when I was doing my research, I have the evidence that women and men, we have been working together from the origin of time. So we have been always working together, but that's the reason that we are working together, and we were working together. We are together also in picture. Oh, let me, please, I will help you. Okay, here we are. History um, releases the names of the women or put them in the last pages of the books or in the last long lists. So everybody is tired when read the list of the names, and that's the reason some of us maybe we have never listened about that names. So this hidden talent is the reason of the invisible ingenuity. And the consequences of this invisibility is because with no references, with this lack of models, and with all this hidden talent, we have a very important lack of vocations. This is called or known as gender gap. And I can show to you a reason because I'm here. Take a look to this picture. This picture is my university people profile. This is a population in my university. Every column is a type of degree or a department. And in every column, you can identify easily the percent of men in red or the percent of women in blue. And this picture is far from 50-50 that I was expected to get at this moment. In the year 2000 year, I was the secretary of the first National Congress about Women and Engineering. And at that point, I told to myself, okay, in a few years, you will have the equity or the parity in the numbers. So you will have 50-50. 23 years after that moment, we are still in this picture. We're really far from 50-50. So, and it's the same from staff than for students, is the same. So the distribution is far from 50-50. And that's the reason of the gender gap. Can you see this picture? In this picture, each column is the percent of women in humanities or in social or in experimental science or in health science. Take a look, close to 75%. But in technology or in ICT, in a global, is close to 25%. So every 4 people, when we are doing the recruitment activities, I can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 boys and a girl. That's it. And I don't like this. That's the reason I'm here to explain to you. We need to change this. We need to switch this value. We need to get the previous picture was 50-50, 50% red, 50% blue, because people in the world, we are 50-50. And that's the reason I've been working hard from the last 23 years for searching and identifying all the activities that could help the young generations to consider that STEAM are a nice option for the future. So I'm looking for these books, the great women scientists and the histories, or this movie, Hidden Figures, or Women in Science, or Women Discoverers, or these other options. This is an initiative for Casio, and these calculators are Women in Science collection. So Women in Science, it means the box of the calculator is decorated with a drawing of a scientist or an inventor. is much better, these options, than a Pikachu or a Pokemon. Is more useful. So I'm helping Eloy Bernal to spread the idea around the world. And this is me. Yeah, this is me. This is me because I was doing a TV show, and the name was The Invisible Ingenuity, and the topic was female inventors. So every day, in every program, I was talking in front of the camera, blah, 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 explaining the life and the history of one female inventor. It was a very boring program, but it was the only one of women and engineering. And I was the presenter and the guidelines designer and everything, you know. Now I'm not doing anymore. And when we did a search about the inventors of things, this was the picture. I cannot believe the inventors of things were only men. I cannot believe, because it was not true, because the future inventors are our generations in front of us. And if the only model they have is this, we are losing the girls' talent. So, because we know that to highlight these models in order to increase the number of women in STEM, that's the reason I'm here. And all this hidden talent and all this invisible ingenuity must change and must get far from that hidden places, that being a principal place, because all that names is very sad. They are invisibles or unknown, because they must be visible or known, because they are absolutely essentials in our history and our lives. So my objective with this speech is because I don't want no more invisible ingenuity. Take a look on the brackets surrounding in, because my idea in a future, and I'm wondering, this would be a close future, I can retire, I can release this in and get a lot of visible ingenuity. So this was my speech. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you want to do any question, I'm ready for this. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Núria. Whoa, this has been really, really interesting and fulfilling. I'm talking about myself. It's my personal opinion, but as well the personal opinion of the public. One person of the public said, sorry, I'm just looking for the comment. One person of the public said, I would love to have teacher like Núria. She communicates really well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Just for you to know, well, many people is saying that it's a pleasure, so super nice presentation. I can say that you are more than right when you say there is a lack of role models, right? And with this conference that you did, and with this research that is behind, is known, and it's shown that it's a historical fact. So there is a lack of role model that was on the past, and it's a current issue right now. And this is also a problem of visibility, as you said, right? Because we have seen many different incredible women that were inventing several stuff, as well as today there are incredible women in tech positions in STEAM, and there is true that there is still a gap, but even if the gap is there are women already on working in tech, working in STEAM, whatever, but even if they are there, they have low visibility or less visibility than men could have, right?
Exactly.
So I couldn't be more agree with you. Yeah.
That's the reason I'm asking you to consider from now on, if you have to identify an example for everything, please, first name must be a woman name. And maybe the name who came to your mind is because the books, Edison, Volta, Gutenberg, Tesla, all these names. Okay, please make the effort of search about of a woman name, and then you are helping to change this situation, to switch the situation, because if the first name you are sharing is a female name, then people is very common to how to say is you are normalizing a situation that must be normal from many years ago. So that's the reason. First time, can you say to us an inventor, of course, and I start to say men of women. And well, it could be a man name, I know, but let me you to say 25 names of women, and then the 26 will be a man.
Yeah. Because you already know that most probably the first thing that people will think about is men rather than women. So it's a good tip indeed. You are answering a question from the public with that answer, right? That what men and what people should do in general to change that, right? So that would be
one of the most simple and easy and cheap thing is that I said before. Please consider to give an example of a woman.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
don't mind if you are a woman or a man. You are as that woman said, blah 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 blah. That woman did blah 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 blah. As that woman invented, and you can help us in order to get this switch that we need, because it's very sad at this moment when a young girl say, oh yeah, but I'm afraid I will be the only one in technology bachelor when I will be studying, because my colleagues, my friends at school, they are considering not to be scientists or technologists. So if you're listening a girl doing this, say, okay, it's great, you're brave, because did you know that that woman was the only one and blah 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 blah, and take a look to the name, now she's in these books. Or so you can help by doing this in a normal way, and then you are normalizing this situation. When a young girl says at home, I want to be an engineer, it's very usual. Somebody asks, oh, engineer, oh, it's a good option, but why? Why are you considering this? But if that girl says, I want to be a nurse, nobody asks. So you can help us a lot. Yeah, for sure. And if you don't know the name of female inventors, please send me an email and I will share to you a lot of names.
Yeah. That's a good answer indeed, and that's a good starting point, I would say, right? If you want to help to the equity and you want to help, the first thing that you have to do is to take action, right?
Everybody is welcome. Everybody's welcome.
Sure. I have another question. I think that you somehow answered it during your presentation, but wherever I will ask you anyway, coming from the public as well. Through all your years as teacher in a technical school, have you noticed an increase on women studying STEAM?
Yeah, and slight increase, not as the high increase I was expecting, because when I started my my career in Polytechnical of Catalonia, the percent of women were less than 20. At this moment, in the global numbers, we have 31%. So 30 years for increasing 12%. Oh my God. So when I will be 95 years old, maybe we will be close to 40%. So I have identified this increasing, but slower than I was expecting.
Yeah. And it's definitely, as we were saying before, the root cause is the
But
lack of role models,
Noelia,
the lack of
let me
visibility. Yeah.
let me you to say something. My school, your school in Tarrasa, is the school with the highest percent of women. Why? Because we have been working hard for this recruitment of feminine talent. That's it.
Yeah.
And now in Tarrasa, we are close to 33%. So it's the highest.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to be proud. For the public that maybe doesn't know, I studied in the university in which Núria is teaching. Indeed, she was my teacher at some point. So yeah, I'm so proud of being part of the alumni of this university. And I was aware of that number, and that makes me proud as well, as a woman studying there, right? And as an ex-alumni. So yeah, sure, if you do something, somehow you will get the results. And this is a really good number, and I'm really proud, and I share your proudness, because that makes me feel proud too. Sure. Yeah, sure. I have another question, Núria, if you don't mind, coming from the public as well. So what do you consider the biggest obstacle that you have faced by doing your research and by doing your speech that you have shared with us today?
Because the evidence of the numbers were not changing. When I started, I thought, okay, in a few years, this scenario will change. I was the only one. I was the only one woman in my department. And I said, okay, maybe it's normal because I am strange. I thought I was strange. But I started to identify that the numbers were not changing. So in 2000 year, I was the secretary of that Congress, the first National Congress of Women in Engineering. And then I realized I'm working here for 8 years and the numbers are in the same value. So we need to act. And I involved myself in several activities, like Programa Donna, like dissemination activities. And I was trying to identify the name of inventors related to my topic in class. So when I was talking about non-destructive tests, I explained about X-ray history, because X-ray, you know, blah, 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 but about the history and the origin. And the first image of X-ray is the hand of Anna Bertha Ludwig, the wife of Mr. Röntgen. So nobody knew about the name or the history of Anna Bertha Ludwig, but everybody knew about Röntgen because she was the winner of the first physics Nobel, blah, blah, blah. So I talked to my students about Anna Bertha Ludwig with the name and the history. So I highlight the role of that hidden woman. And the next from the next topic. And one day I realized my students mostly boys. They were expecting my history. They were expecting my female tale. So okay, that's the way.
Yeah, you found the way. You found the way, definitely. Good, Núria. So thank you very much. As I said, the public is saying thank you. It was a pleasure. So I really want to transmit that to you. I think it has been a really amazing conference. So I really encourage all the public to contact Núria if they want to have more insights or whatever they want. So feel free. I'm sure that she will be more than happy to address your questions or further discussions in the offline. So Núria, thank you very much. As I said, it has been a pleasure. Thank you for being a role model and for showing us other role models. And thank you for being part of the International FemHack. And thank you for your time, and I hope to see you soon.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to you for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Núria. Bye-bye. Okay, and for the rest of the public, so we will having the last conference of today in an hour and 5 minutes. So take a break. We will be back in an hour and a half, in 5 minutes more or less, with the last conference of today and the last conference of the International FemHack. So see you in a while.